Yeah. Yeah. Now for a minute, I've been looking for some inspiration. I got my pen, I got my pad, I write with dedication. You see this poetry, my medication.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. خيي كمان.
Thank you, Sheikh Belal, for joining us at One Path Network. It's really good to have you here all the way from Melbourne in Sydney.
My pleasure.
The first time I ever heard about you, I watched a lecture. It was called Ahmad the Repenter.
Oh, the classic.
And this is a long, long time ago. I remember my friend gave it to me on VHS tapes. And it was probably one of the most compelling lectures I had ever watched at that time, because this is before YouTube, this is before Facebook, this is before social media. Literally, people are, instead of sharing a video on their wall, he's literally sharing me a video in person, and it's a really great blessing to have you here with us today, alhamdulillah. Sheikh, the topic we want to speak about today was bullying. What is your perspective of bullying in the Muslim community?
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I've been a teacher for about 13 years now, and we've seen this issue of bullying all the time. Every school, the whole world talks about it. It's a big thing now. Also, the government's gotten involved with it in preventing it. The way I see it, Akhi Kamal, is that bullying is not a new thing. It's always been there. It's been there for thousands of years.
Definitely.
If it haven't been there for thousands of years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wouldn't send a verse 1,400 years ago. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. This verse, wail, means hellfire. لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. To every. And I'm going to explain what every means here. To every. Humaza, lumaza. Humaza and lumaza are the same meaning. They are a form of bullying. In fact, they are all the bullying. Verbal, physical, by action. Except that humaza is done behind someone's back, and lumaza is done in front of someone's back, with their face. And Allah put humaza, which is the covert, which means the silent bullying, the one done behind your back, you don't know what hit you, through signals, eye movements, mouth movements, sounds, hand movements, words, statements, all these things that people around you know what they are. You don't know what they are, or you don't hear them. It's done behind your back, and the bullying is happening while you're walking around not knowing what's hitting you. That's put before the second word, lumaza, and lumaza is to your face. And we know that the one behind your back, they're both bad, but humaza is even worse than that. I've seen boys are mostly physical bullies or verbal bullies. Girls have that humaza one, which is behind your back thing. Among the students who hurt themselves the most are girls, from my experience and from studies shown. Why? If somebody is bullying you physically or in open, everybody can see it. At least some people come and counsel you, some people stand up for you. But when someone's covert, does it behind your back, and then in your face they're friends, and they teach their friends not to say anything, what happens is that this girl or this boy don't know who to run to. They don't know how to tell their parents. And I can mention to you more as a teacher, knowing of students, one student I knew personally who committed suicide as a result. He was 14, another girl was 14. I knew her community, a Muslim as well, as a result of social media, bullying, cyberbullying.
That's actually very scary for you to say a Muslim boy would commit suicide.
And a Muslim girl.
And a Muslim girl.
Yeah, and the graves are in the Faulkner Cemetery. People can pass by and see them.
Below 15 years of age.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, mostly. Yeah, a lot of the cyberbullying.
What is it that drives a young boy or a young girl at that age to commit such a act?
And that's where the question that we have to address is. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has warned a huge warning, isn't he? He says, hellfire. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. First thing we have to understand is that a bully is not someone who does something once or twice, or somebody who has driven to insanity and they start going crazy doing things. No, these people are exempt, and the person who does it once or twice, they're advised and they should stop, but they're not really bullies. A bully is a person who has a habit and consciously always does it. A person who consciously always does it, knowing the ramifications of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this person is actively being an evil person. So therefore, wail is deserving of them, because the amount of people they're harming is unbelievable, children from the youngest to the oldest. However, there is a segment in our community, a small number, which studies show that usually, and this is very important for the youth to understand, that actually now a larger number of young people who do bully are often have a history of being bullied themselves. And I'm not here to make the bully a victim. The bully is a perpetrator.
Definitely.
Because anyone can stop bullying, but some of them don't have the right guidance. And they don't know any better. It reminded me, I was bullied when I was actually in year 7, to be honest, but only because of my religious practice. And anyone who looked different, they called him weird. There were times as a child, I cried so badly and I shivered and I didn't want to go to school and all that stuff. But remembering the Sahabas and the companions, as I grew up, these same bullies, even non-Muslims, they came knocking on my door when we were in our 20s.
Subhanallah.
But these people who bullied me, I realized they had problems. They had issues. Listen to this beautiful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Unsur akhaka zaliman aw mazluman." Help your brother, give him support, give him victory. Whether he or she is the oppressor, the bully, let's say bully because a bully is an oppressor, or the one being oppressed, the victim of bullying. They said, "Ya Rasulullah, of course we can help them when they're the victim." How do we help when they're the oppressors, the bullies? They said, by stopping them. How do you stop them? If it's physical, you have to physically stop them. If they're going all that, try and be in between of them. If it's verbal, then you've got to try to talk to them. If it's counseling, you've got to give them counseling. If you have to involve their parents, their family, advice, ad-din al-nasiha. There are so many ways you can, instead of pointing the finger at them, let's try and help them.
You know, the worst thing that we're seeing today, it's as though it's a culture that if you see something wrong, you see bullying, you see a calamity before in front of your face, the first thing people think about is, oh, I'm going to record it. I'm going to put this on Facebook. This is going to get so much views. This is going to go viral on YouTube. The last thing on their mind is trying to intervene to stop it. And this is a very, very toxic culture that we're seeing in society today. And it's something which teenagers really need to shun. It's a culture that we need to shun and step away from completely.
Kamal, akhi, I'm going to go further than that even. Let's go to some of the roots of the problems. I was walking in the schoolyard and saw a parent with their child saying, stick your finger up. At who? At that kid over there. Go on. Another parent in the car park, picking up their kids. Why did you park in front of me? Oh, go and do this and that to yourself. Astaghfirullah. Excuse me, but this is the reality. When we look at our elders as role models, then we learn from them the behavior of communication or justice, or we learn the communication of bullying, and that the strongest, survival of the fittest. We're not in a jungle, subhanAllah. Definitely. So it starts with us as parents and teachers. If a teacher sees something, or a parent sees something, or their child comes to them, first of all, look at yourself. Secondly, what we need to do is to try and research and find out ways, tools for these youngsters and the older people. Don't think that adults are not being bullied. Parents are being bullied. Families bullied. I mean, a child sees sometimes in a family cluster, the father doesn't speak to his brother, or the mother doesn't speak to her sister, or whatever, or they don't talk to their auntie or to their uncles, or they isolate this person, isolate that person. What's the child seeing? That's on a negative ground. On a positive, when people try to solve their problems, they commit, they don't try. Something goes wrong, alhamdulillah, look, things do go wrong, son, things do go wrong, but there are ways, inshallah, of going around it. Let's go and talk, let's go and communicate. Maybe that person is not thinking what we're thinking, maybe they misunderstood, maybe we misunderstood. I advise communication. One student said to me, this person's been bullying me for 5 months. What should I do? I said, don't go to the teacher. They go, who do I go to? Don't go to your parents.
Seriously?
They go, I went to my parents. The parents said, tell a teacher. But you know what happened? One other student, we told the teacher spoke to them, and some of them got detention, but it only increased the bullying. It turned from school to out of school. No. And if it wasn't then, they turned someone else against them, or isolating them. What's a teacher going to do if somebody doesn't want to sit next to someone else?
It's escalated the problem.
But I'm seeing a student not sitting next to another student. Mm-hmm. I can't force them to sit next to them. So they can say, I'm not doing it, I just don't want to sit next to them. But what they're doing is that they're isolating them. It's literal bullying, right? So the student, I said to him, when I was your age, I learned to bring some courage. And when that person was alone, I went to them and talked to them. I want you to go and talk to that person, but not in front of their friends. After school, you're waiting. Oh yeah, we wait outside. He said, parents pick us up, said, go up to him and say, Assalamu alaikum. He'll say, wa alaikum salam.
SubhanAllah.
They're different because in front of their friends it's something else. There's no reason for them to show off right now. Say, how you doing, Ahmed? How you doing, Muhammad? Look, man, you've been saying a lot of things about me like this and like that. And look, that's cool, but it hurts me. And if we want to fight, we can fight. We both get suspended. We both get detention. I mean, we can all do that. You know, you hit me, I hit you, one of us ends up injured or whatever. You know, I can snitch about you can snitch about me. I go, but what's that going to do? You know, like, I'm just here to tell you, how about we respect each other? And just, you know, you don't say anything, I don't say. If I said anything, tell me, man. Let's talk like that.
SubhanAllah.
The kid went and did it. Wallahi, it worked. Look, I'm not saying 100% of the time it works, but it
Definitely.
worked. Almost all the time it works. But let's go back to the initial thing which I said, that is bystanders. The strongest and most powerful impact anyone has on stopping a bullying are the bystanders. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, "Unsur akhaka zaliman aw madluman." Help your brother or sister, whether they're the oppressors or the ones being oppressed. The bystanders. One word. Staying and say, "Hey, did she say anything to you?" "No, but what are you?" Another friend comes in and goes, "Look, guys, she didn't say anything to you, okay? If she did, we'll even tell her off. But she didn't say anything to you, and all you're doing right now is just bullying her." Just saying those words makes the bully stop. Subhanallah.
Definitely. I guess there's no blanket solution, and every bully would differ, especially, alhamdulillah, as Muslims we have Islam as our guiding principles, and perhaps we can use the principles of Islam to turn away from the bullying and the abuse. You know, we know the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He hears Aisha radiallahu anha, she says, or I don't even think she says, she signals that one of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is short, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is able to stop her immediately, even if it's a joke, even if it's soft.
And what did he say to her, Kamal? Remember, she actually signaled, didn't say anything.
She didn't even say anything.
Well,
That's how silent it was.
told her, "You've said something. You've
Subhanallah.
said something."
Definitely.
Some people think that by signal, I didn't say anything.
Rolling your eyes, or
That's even worse than this. He says, "You have said a word." She just did that. You have said a word that if it was to be mixed with the salty ocean, it would be saltier than the ocean. Another one of his wives was an ex-Jew who converted to Islam. Her father was the leader of the Bani Nadir, who had conspired against Prophet ﷺ and almost killed him. And they said, "Oh, who are you? You're the ex-Jew, the daughter of a Jew." And she was crying. Prophet ﷺ said to him, "What's the problem?" He says, "Oh, you know, Hafsa and Aisha saying, and the others, they call me when they're upset, when they say, you you're daughter of a Jew. And you should say to him," and then he said to her, "Tell them, yes, I'm a daughter of a Jewish man, but I'm the wife of a prophet. My father was a prophet, and my uncle was a prophet." Her father was great-great-grandfather Musa alayhi salam, and her uncle Harun alayhi salam. Prophet was her husband. He gave her tools about how to respond. He didn't go up and say, "Hey, don't say this." No, he gave her tools, okay?
to respond.
Naam, subhanallah. Let's remember the verses of the Quran in Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah said, "Innama al-mu'minuna ikhwa." As a matter of fact, the believers are all brothers and sisters. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Your goal is to always find ways to reconcile. If someone doesn't want to reconcile and they're always toxic, you just avoid the toxicity. You don't have to be really close to them. You can avoid the toxicity and from a distance, but don't be like them. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ, and fear Allah at the end of the day. Then Allah subhanahu gives us advices: don't mock each other. Men, don't mock men. Maybe they're better than you.
Maybe they're better than you. That's right.
Women, don't mock another group of women. Maybe they're better than you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did say this advice. So my advice is, it's better for you to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with nothing for you, but nothing against you. People have harmed you, but you haven't harmed them. Everybody will go back into that soil and we're all equal then, no matter who you talk about. And Allah will judge. So don't be on the other side. Be on the side of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not say much. And shorten the time you're going to stand on the Day of Judgment. I ask Allah to save us from our tongues and our evil of our hearts and from bullying.
Ameen. Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot to take home. For those that are being bullied, for those that witness bullying, for the families, for the teachers, we all have a role to play. So thank you so much. I know this is a topic which needs a whole lot more time, but we thank you so much for your time in benefiting us in this, inshallah. We look forward to seeing you again. Jazakallah khair.
My pleasure. Jazakumullah khair. You, Kamal, one path. Excellent work.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.